What's up, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson here with Inside Arkansas and the Pod at the Palace. And happy Monday, also known as Malik Thomas Day for those who celebrate. So make sure you stay tuned for that announcement and the coverage to follow on Inside Arkansas. But this morning, we're going to close the book on this Arkansas Baylor game over the weekend, give some final thoughts. And look, Arkansas's got a laundry list of things to work on, obviously, right? But you only lost by 5 points, I think, despite them all. And that should be something that's encouraging maybe for Razorback fans. A good amount of folks were upset after that loss, and understandably so, because you want your team to win. And there are just a couple areas where you just didn't play well that probably cost you, it would have been a top 10 victory, a lot of positive buzz and notoriety, and, an early resume win, which got plenty of time for that. I think the vibes for the most part that I've felt and have seen are folks were disappointed in the loss, optimistic about what this team can be. And I love that energy, especially when we seem to be surrounded by so much negativity all of a sudden over here. What's going on? Arkansas, in my opinion, they didn't execute flawlessly, of course, but it showed, I think, a lot of fight. This team did. They didn't fold. They grew up a little bit in there, which are all things you want to see early in the season, regardless of outcome, because it is a long, long year. I mean, 31 games. It's different than college football, where one loss, you can look at it and it can really have a huge impact on the year. Different in basketball when you're doing this over the course of 5 or 6 months, man. So, the Hogs made run after run to get back into the game, but they couldn't get the final stop or make the extra shot to get over the hump. I kind of had this feeling like if Arkansas was able to get the lead, they would have never given it back up, but they didn't do that. So credit to Baylor, plenty of lessons to be learned, and everything, outside of an undefeated season that you were looking for in terms of goals is right there in front of you still. So here's the thing, folks. You're going to hear the field of 68. And Big Blue Nation and other folks out there, they're going to be shoving the Cal is cooked narrative down your throat relentlessly, man. They're going to throw it in your face every single time they get an opportunity. And context doesn't matter to them, although I think it should for you. I appreciate John Rothstein for being measured in his assessment of, hey, Arkansas shot 41% from the field, 25% from three. They lost by 5. I'm anxious to see where this team is at in a month. I agree. I think that's kind of where I'm at, as opposed to freaking out, with some big picture, broad declarations about this team and this program after a neutral site game against a top 10 team that was a battle, from start to finish there. So, it's strange to me. Never mind Jonas Adu not being healthy. It has already been decided that Arkansas won't be able to defend the middle ball screen all year. That's what they're going to tell you, at least. Listen, Big Z he's a big liability. The further he's drawn out from under the rim defensively, the more problematic things become for him. And he struggled with pick and roll defense with Cal. He would for Bill Self or Mark Pope or anybody else. It's something they have to continue to work on and find what works for him. Personally, I'm a little bit more concerned, I think, about where Jonas Adu is at health-wise, or maybe how close or far away he is from full strength. That's something that I wonder about. I worry about a little bit, but there's no doubt in my mind that Jonas Adu is a massive, massive answer to a lot of questions Arkansas has defensively and just around the rim and in the paint in general, whether it's, on the glass or being a scoring threat inside on the block. If you get the, the full version of Jonas Adu, it changes things for Arkansas. Now, the question is, when are they going to get that and whether or not they will? And I think that's something that we might need to monitor there. But, it just, never mind being in a dogfight with a top 10 team in the second game of the season. This is not a cohesive unit. That's what you're going to hear directed towards Fayetteville, while it's it's a built-in and accepted fact for other programs. What happened to Arkansas? Why did I talk myself into Cal working out at Arkansas? Why are we doing this right now after this game? To me, I think the folks that, doing that right now are the ones who have had an agenda and they needed any reason at all to start pushing it. So as soon as they take a loss, regardless of the context surrounding it, that's their opportunity to jump on, right? The reaction to Arkansas losing by 5 points to Baylor has been objectively harsher than Baylor losing to Gonzaga by 40. which to me is super ironic, seeing as Baylor clearly bounced back very nicely under far worse circumstances, but we're ready to write off Arkansas. A lot of people are. That's just very interesting to me how that works. But, a new team who's been practicing with five guys for a few weeks, um, it is an excuse, is what they're going to tell you, and maybe they're right, but that doesn't make it untrue, right? Cal's playing the hits, yeah, maybe so, but I wonder how many one-liners that Mark Pope and Eric Musselman or anybody else repeats over the years if a situation calls for it. Right. And so I think both things can be true. I think, Big Blue Nation, yeah, you probably heard a lot of this before. Does that mean that it's not true in these cases? Does it mean that it can't be the case moving forward, or accurate? No, not necessarily. So, if other programs are given the grace of time to figure it out early in the season, while folks are pushing the Cal is cooked agenda or ready to write Arkansas off, let them do that. Let them do that. That's okay. I would say, to Razorback fans, ignore the trolls out there because it can be pretty exhausting, because it's everywhere. It's an obsession over Cal everywhere you go. Every post that's on social media, every article that's written, every video that you look at, they're all over it, man. And it's unhealthy. And listen, Cal is not the perfect coach. He did not coach the perfect game, and he may have been outcoached by Scott Drew on Saturday there. But my goodness, we'll see how it winds up going in the season in general. I just can't imagine how miserable things must have been for John Calipari in Lexington the last couple of years with the way some folks are acting, man. It's a little bit strange to me, but I would encourage you as Razorback fans, don't let yourself go down that path or get sucked into those narratives after a 5-point loss, to Baylor. I think, lose one of these bye games or get popped and not show any improvement against Illinois here in a few weeks. And then maybe I might be ready to start having some conversations about, what's the ceiling of this season, or do we have some big picture problems for the rest of the year that we have to look at or really identify? But this game on Saturday, I don't think is the hill you need to die on from that narrative. Don't fall into the trap, people, is what I'm telling you, because it's toxic out there. And I don't want it to take away from the joy of the start of college basketball season and a really talented team that Arkansas has, who is not a finished product 2 games into the season, right? The only thing that I might be close to agreeing with folks on is that Arkansas can't shoot. Right? We need to see it, man. I am holding out hope, that Nelly Davis is going to get it going from 3. I think Boogie Flan showed some positives there, 3 of 5. Carter Knox is a guy who I think is going to wind up finding himself, but I don't know any of those things to be factual. And they kind of need to be for Arkansas to be a good 3-point shooting team. So we'll see. The jury's still out there. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Arkansas is going to fix all of their early, problems or question marks here and go win a national title, or that John Calipari has all the answers. I don't know. But what I do know is 2 games into the year is way too early to be having panic attacks about it, and freaking out about it. So I think a deep breath is in order. Most people in the fan base, I feel like, understand that, but some can be influenced by some of the negativity that's out there. I'm not talking about from Kentucky fans, but from some national media who are really giving Cal the business after this game yesterday. And I don't know, man. I mean, to me, I don't feel like we're anywhere even remotely close to the level of alarm or concern that some folks out there are portraying. I just think it's way too early for that. And you got to let it play out here. But honestly, I saw a lot of reasons for optimism in this Baylor game. I'm frustrated that they lost too. I thought they could have played just a little bit better and got out of there with a marquee win, but they didn't. Man, I don't know. I'm feeling pretty decent, though, I think, moving forward. If they just simply get Adu healthy and make a couple more threes per game, just that. And they got a lot of other stuff they have to work on. But listen, Adu Thiero's emergence, I think, is huge for this Razorback team. He looks like a pro out there. His game has evolved. It has improved. It has come around. Now, is he going to play as well consistently on a night-to-night basis as he did against Baylor? Probably not. I don't think it's fair to even expect that, honestly. But can he play at an all-SEC level for you? And really be just, the combination between his athleticism, the way he impacts the game in literally every area, not just a glue guy, but a key cog who's a game wrecker for opponents. Yeah, I really think he can. Boogie Fland, I thought, really shined on the big stage in his first real opportunity against a good opponent. He looked good in there, and there were some things early on that he needed to make adjustments with. Just seeing that zone, I think for the first time against a top 10 opponent, he was kind of like, what do I do here? And we were getting some hot potato around the perimeter. I thought he was doing some things, and credit to Cal. We'll talk about that in a minute. For getting him moving a little bit, but got the lid off from three. Boogie did 17 points. Could be a little bit more efficient than 5 of 13 for sure. You want to knock down a couple more shots there. You want to be closer to 50% than you are 30% from the field. But it was good to see him knocking down the threes and to have 7 assists and 0 turnovers in a game like this, where he also had 5 rebounds. That's really, really good stuff from Boogie. And he's kind of solidifying himself as one of the freshmen to watch in this country on the national scale. That's a good thing for Arkansas. Billy Richmond continues to come along. His energy is infectious out there on both ends of the floor. And he's a guy who's seen his minutes start to increase because he's doing things that they're looking for him to do. Positive signs from Trevin Brazil, impacting the game with some steals defensively. He had that one that he came up with, and then the ball gets kicked out to Boogie Flan. He hits that huge 3 in the first half that got Arkansas. It was kind of the cap to that big run that got him back into the game. Threw down a lob dunk there. He could be a little bit more aggressive, but he's showing some signs of life to where he could be a really, really valuable 6-man type player for Arkansas this year. So I like what we've seen from Arkansas in transition. They're electric, in the open floor. A lot of guys who can play above the rim and get downhill and finish. The zone and half-court offense, it's only going to be so effective, I think, until they make some threes and stretch the defense. You have to be able to do that, or you just kind of have a ceiling in terms of what you can do in the half-court, whether it's against man or a zone there. Wasn't great in the first half. You want to call it coaching malpractice that they weren't prepared for it coming in. Be my guest. I understand that. I thought they might have could have been more prepared, or at least you see it early, you call an early timeout, and you make some adjustments then instead of having to wait till halftime to do it. But to their credit, they did make adjustments going into the second half. And for people to say that they didn't, I'm not sure what game you were really watching there, because the stagnant, just tossing around the perimeter stuff, there was far less of that after the break. Just some simple weave action to get guys moving and get the defense having to talk and communicate. Just Boogie Flan, something as simple as passing the ball to the wing, cutting through, filling to the corner, and then you got some replace where the defense is having to talk, communicate, pass guys off. You get them into rotations, and you can start attacking a little bit. Getting Nelly Davis some touches in the soft spots of the zone when his shot wasn't falling, and you're able to get him the ball, in the post area, in the paint, in the short corner, and kind of let him go to work and attack a little bit. Those are adjustments and positives. It's exactly what those things are. And Arkansas was more successful in the second half than they were in the first. And it would have shown even more if they could have just knocked down some more shots, right? Would I have liked to seen some more quick hitters in there against his own? Sure. Screening the top man or the inside man to get some things opened up and going for you? Sure. Overloading one side, creating some mismatches or some opportunities for post up? Sure. But there were some adjustments that were made there. And what we'll see now is when they probably get zoned against Troy, do they look better in terms of their readiness and ability to attack that and show some different looks? Jury's out. We don't know. But I did think they looked better in the second half than they did in the first against Baylor. +5 on the glass in this game with 12 offensive rebounds. That's a nice step in the right direction in terms of the aggressiveness that you want to see from Arkansas on the offensive boards, when honestly, they weren't the most physical team in the paint. You're not going to be against Norchad Omier unless you have, maybe a fully healthy Jonas Adu. But even without him, some really good things on the offensive glass and winning the battle on the boards against a Big 12 team. That's good. That's a positive. 3-point defense. There was a stretch there where it looked like Baylor wasn't going to miss another shot the rest of the night, and they had some breakdowns. They did, where, ball screens, guards were able to get into the paint. That Robert Wright kid was able to get in the lane and then find kickouts or, just none getting switched off onto Z, and he knocked down a couple threes. So some breakdowns there, absolutely. But at the end of the day, you hold Baylor to 7 made threes and under 30%. You absolutely take that. You take that 10 times out of 10. An uptick for Arkansas in terms of free throw attempts and percentage, 14 to 17. That's good. The 17, I'd like to see Arkansas be 20 plus in free throw attempts per game. But again, you were going up against the zone for one, so that's probably a little bit better of a number than we give them credit for. And then you shot 7 free throws against Lipscomb, so more than double in that was kind of part of the formula. and they did it. So to me, it's depends on how you look at it, right? Like the glass half empty is you shot like crap and you lost by 5. The glass half full is you shot like crap and you lost by 5. And so you could kind of look at it either way there. But I do think Arkansas has got the pieces to have a really good team, but you got to get them A, healthy, B, playing together. That's the challenge early in the season that John Calipari is facing. And then we'll see how long it takes for them to kind of to get in sync and get into a rhythm, find the rotations that work, and get guys settled into the roles that they need to be in. So, we just got to give them time, and John Calipari's story will write itself. But some of these folks got to stop trying to write it for him after 2 games. That's crazy talk. Arkansas is 1-1. They play Troy on Wednesday. They got 4 bye games here, where what I would really like to see from Arkansas is start blowing some damn teams out, right? Like you can only take so much away from some of these games. Obviously, you don't want to get popped, but you need to start winning convincingly and building some confidence and look like you're playing better basketball. Even if you're playing against a lesser opponent, that's fine. You want to dominate them, right? That's exactly what we want to see from Arkansas. And so we'll take a look at it, and then the question will be, how much do these guys improve from a game-to-game basis before Thanksgiving, where they get another big test against Illinois? And we'll continue to monitor it. So hey, I appreciate you guys as always for tuning in. It was a lot of fun us going down to Dallas and covering that game, even in a losing effort. We had a good time. Got to check out an NBA arena, met a ton of fans down there and people who were supportive and picking up what we're putting down over here at Inside Arkansas. So we like that. And stay tuned. Make sure you tapped into everything we got going on. I don't know when you guys are going to watch this. Maybe it's Monday morning. And hopefully we're going live a little bit later about a big commitment for Arkansas, and we'll have a lot of breakdown from that. So been Curtis Wilkerson with Inside Arkansas on the Pod at the Palace. Thanks again to all you guys as always for the support, and we will catch you soon.